Welcome to the opening of our very first episode of the Triple E podcast. We are a 3 female member podcast, Talitha, Tanya, and Aaliyah. We are seniors in high school. For a brief explanation of what made Triple E a reality, employment, empowerment, and education. Upon the review from the Human Right Article 23, this issue stood out to us because of the big impact it has towards our present, past, and future as women in the workforce. For our first episode, we decided to express our voices in hopes to spread awareness to women continuing to face unfair treatment in the workforce.
So let's start off with talking about our opinion on the treatment of women in the workforce. I would say that what I've been told or what I've seen personally is that we are treated unfair and we aren't really professional because of just because people still see us as homemakers and everything like that. Like, they don't see that we are capable of doing more than half of the things that a male can do in the workforce.
I agree. I feel like they seem to look at us as unsuitable, unworthy.
Yeah.
Less than a man, obviously, because if you really look at it and notice, in most jobs, the higher leadership positions are mostly belonging to men.
Exactly.
Women are more like the side support or lower paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that too. Going back to what you said, Talitha, have you ever experienced any experiences in the workforce as a woman?
Not in the workforce because I haven't really worked before, but in JRTC, I am a leader in our program, and there was a time where I got an assistant position against this male leader, and whenever he wasn't there, I would take over, and the kids would listen to him all the time, and they respected him. But whenever he wasn't around, I would go into his place, and nobody would listen to me. Nobody really respected what I had to say or the fact that I was leading. And I'm not just saying that because that's what I feel like. They've literally said that before. And just the fact that they were so comfortable saying that in general, that they don't respect me because I'm female, says a lot about, honestly, how parents are bringing up their children, and they're how they are raised in the house to believe that females can't run things in general because
On their own,
yeah,
Without having a man.
yeah, exactly. We have to have a agenda filled out by a male in order for it to sound proper or sound like it's gonna work. We can't come up with it on our own and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that has been my experience in it. What have you guys ever experienced that yourselves?
On that, I want to add that that's how we don't, because our opportunities are really low, and with that happening, we don't even have that much authority if you really think about it, because it's always been that stereotype
It always leads back to men.
men are the powerful gender, and they're the ones that are in control, and they're the boss, basically. We're just,
or oh, you're just being sensitive, or oh, you're even the fact that they'll be oh yeah, you're just on your period, that's all, it's just your hormones. You don't, it's always leading back to stuff that we have to go through when we probably do our best work on our period. Just saying.
We can be doing the same work, same job, have the same ability, same talents, but we still get
10 times better,
less credited, misrepresented.
Our credit gets kind of taken away. Say for the medical field, say we came up with a groundbreaking discovery or something, and somebody would be oh, she probably had help, oh, she
a man was behind it.
Yes, a man was behind it, and they'll be why is her name under it? She didn't do that. Or even they will assume that it was a male instead of the female doing it.
Yeah, in the hospital field,
yes.
When we were searching up articles and coming across with a medical source, it was talking about how
male nurses tend to earn more than women nurses. Female nurses.
There's more doctors
that are female,
but they're less credited,
exactly,
even compared
nurses.
to male.
And teachers.
Yeah, they're rewarded more.
if I'm being completely honest, I never had a male teacher in my life until I got into high school and in 6th grade. I've always had
I've noticed
female
that too.
teachers. And even in high school, like, I have, like, what, one male teacher that is. So I don't understand how there could be more of us, and we're putting in more of our time and more of ourselves, and yet we still get paid less.
Like, what's the reason that they choose to give them more? Like, are they doing more than us? Like,
Yeah,
are they
like,
more talented? Like, we can be having like the same job, same everything, and they still are seen in a different way than women.
but also, like,
Not equally.
not even saying that a man can't earn what he's earning. It's just that, because yes, sometimes there are cases where a female can fit the stereotype. You know, there's always those types of cases, and that's normal, that's going to happen, but it's just like,
There's a boundary of where
exactly,
men and male and female should be separated and credited the same equally.
exactly. And honestly, the reason why I wanted to speak up on the topic is because I just want to have the opportunity to do as I'm doing and earn what I deserve to earn. I just want to have the opportunity to earn what I deserve. And just thinking about it, like, even my sisters and my younger cousins, or even older cousins, and or my children, like, I want them to not be discouraged, and I want them to not have doubt in themselves because of the fact that
they're women.
Or being pressured
Exactly.
into believing that may be true. When it's
exactly.
not.
And I want them and myself and for you guys to want to keep working and want to keep achieving your goals and reaching for the highest spot, because I feel like when we have, like, in history class, like how we talked about, like, the glass roof. Yeah, like, the fact that that's in our history books, it just proves
crazy.
that it's just getting worse and worse. Because do you guys remember that article where it talked about that women get 83 cents of a man's $1 earning?
Yeah.
And people might think that's not insane, but if you really put it to where it's in, like, the thousands and the millions, we could be earning $5,000 less, even $7,000 less than a man is in the same exact position. And I just really don't think that we have to deal with that and worry about that. And even speaking on also behalf of, like, mothers, like single mothers, they don't get all of the help that they need
Financially?
because like, it's just themselves. And speaking on perspective of my mom, like, she's a single mother of 4, and there's just been struggles to keep food on the table sometimes because of the, like, she's been working 3 jobs, and she is great at her job. She's a therapist and she's great at it, and she still gets positions stolen from her, or even her bosses, like, a female boss has told her, like, you can't go for this position, or given her excuses to not be able to exceed in a position that she wanted to because she was a female. She may not have flat out said it, but it's just kind of sometimes it just is obvious, and you could just tell that
They think that your abilities aren't
Yeah.
as
Exactly.
compatible with males.
exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone has the capability to, like, go higher, aim higher, and, like, go for those positions that are, like, a lot more
Advanced.
advanced and, like, with the higher ups, I guess.
And it's like at one point we're gonna get tired, we meaning females are gonna get tired of the treatment, and then there's gonna be less of us working again. And then it's going to be less of us wanting to do more.
Yeah, not
And-
having that motivation to
Yeah.
because
Kind
of
being
how
discouraged.
unfair it is. Like,
Exactly. And I honestly feel like if this treatment continues, I feel like working will become harder, because I feel like that places of business need females and males. Like, they need the balance of both. And I feel like with the treatment that women are facing, they're going to want to give up and not want to do anything, and then we're going to be lacking something that a job may require, like a teacher. Like,
I wonder if then they will start caring about women in the
Exactly.
workforce.
Yeah. Like honestly, boycotting in a way.
Boycotting.
You know, because like teachers, I feel like I had better experience with female teachers than I have male teachers, because it's just that females are nurturing and they have that understanding built to them, as we have been stereotyped to have. And in certain jobs like therapy and again teachers, you need that aspect, like you need that trait, like characteristic. And if we're not becoming teachers, who's going to want to even go to school in a way? Not saying that people go to school just for the female teachers, but I'm just saying, like, you know, just going off of stereotypes that have been placed, you know.
And not even just teachers, like in other, like for construction or for like engineers and stuff like that. It's always, once you think engineers or like construction and all that, you think males.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like
They lower
And
the
it's a-
expectations.
Exactly, and it's like a subconscious thought, because
They think of like heavy lifting male.
And I'm not even gonna lie. For a while, I thought the same way as well, because that's just what I was raised to think.
well, everyone around us
Exactly.
would
Everyone
think
talks the
Exactly.
same way.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so there was no other idea proposed.
You had no opinion.
Yeah, like I never thought of.
It could be
I've
any
always thought of
different.
princesses and wanting to
Getting carried.
exactly and like the fairy tale aspect of life, and it's not going to happen because
Talking about fairy tales, that kind of brings me back to, you know how I was mentioning construction and all that, like, and Aaliyah mentioned heavy lifting, like they think that women are weaker so that we won't be able to.
exactly
I feel like fairy tales are kind of like proving that.
Yeah.
Because every time the fairy tale, the princess is like the damsel in distress.
Exactly.
All the time.
exactly we like
So
every single
as
last
little
one,
girls, we were shown that.
except for Brave. It's literally called
the representation is kind of like lacking there for women.
Yeah.
And it's always been there. Like
in a
that
way, it's brainwashing
Yeah.
everyone to think that, oh yeah, this is how I need to be. Like, there's Bob the Builder, there's what else is another, like even honestly, Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Izzy
Yeah.
was an amazing pirate,
Yep.
but it's not called Izzy and the Neverland
male-
Pirates.
the
It's
male
called Jake
is
and the
always
Neverland Pirates.
introduced
Exactly.
first.
And
They would always be seen as
Like,
a backup.
Yeah,
Exactly.
as if their presence was more important than a woman's when they're the same.
yeah, and even honestly, if we're gonna be talking about Disney princesses, Frozen.
Frozen.
Elsa is the only queen. She's the
Yeah.
only one who doesn't rely on men. But she's also the only one who has powers. She's not a regular, like, she's not Anna.
Yeah,
Anna's
she's
the
not like
one-
Aurora where she wakes up and she's
Because of a
automatically
man.
queen.
Exactly, like there's always a man has to be the
In her
dominant
presence.
one and the one who
In the
has the
picture.
power. Because like Snow White, she was literally a maid. In Cinderella, literally was
And
a
that
maid
goes
in
back
her
to
own
our
home.
That goes back to our household
Homemakers,
stereotype.
yes.
Yeah.
And they couldn't free themselves from that until a man came into their lives and freed them from that. And it's sad because their mothers were the ones, stepmothers, mothers, they were the ones who were putting them in that situation.
Exactly.
So, like, that's kind of like my understanding of women being treated unfairly,
Really?
because it's just always in my face. Like, it's always there in TVs, commercials, just anything. Like, there can't be an amazing, you know.
Yeah, and it's honestly sad because we get used to it. We see it so much that we start
Like
believing
growing
it. We
up.
get used to it.
Yeah.
It becomes like a norm for us.
Yeah, like growing up, women are meant to be in the kitchen, cooking, cleaning.
Yeah. And we honestly, like, give up our voices just so that, like, things can be easier. And, like we don't want to cause a scene.
Just so that there's no arguments
Yes,
and like
like,
big
there's no
chaos,
huge
like
scene.
conflict around that. When we should really be like defending our voices, like putting our voices out there and
not get shut down.
like demanding that fair treatment, because that's what we deserve after all this unfair treatment, not getting paid right, not like being robbed of our opportunities as well. Like your mother,
Yeah.
she could have been probably in a higher position.
Exactly.
Much higher
Earning the
position,
money
much higher
that
position,
she
yeah.
deserves, but she just can't because no
they
one's
see her
really going to
as
sit there and
restrict
tell
her of
her
that.
boss, like, hey, she deserves this and that, and
when
they're
there's
not going to
another,
listen.
when there's a male,
Exactly.
like it was her between her and a male, they would more likely choose the male.
Like,
they should start seeing women as for
As
what they
equals as men,
exactly,
on
for
the
what they
same
are.
level as men.
for what they are, what they present, what they're capable of, rather than stereotypes and going back to
Rather than proving the stereotypes right,
yeah.
we should be proving them
or
wrong.
forcing the stereotypes on
Upon
that
us,
individual. Because, again, not every female, like, there's, of course, some females who fit the stereotype, but that's why it's a stereotype, because it's happened before, but it's not fair to put everyone in that box, in that section of issues. So I just think that a way for us to start something to put our voices out is to keep bringing awareness to it. And I know that sometimes that's just not going to change anything, because people have brought up this issue multiple times, but I feel like with us being younger and with us like having so much passion towards it, like maybe it'll, you know, like help a little bit, because it gets tiring. It gets really tiring to, you know, have to constantly
Have to deal with that, have to put up with that, and not see any change, not seeing anything being done.
Leading back to like something personal, Tanya, have you ever encountered like any unfair treatment being a woman?
Yeah, so recently I joined this like leadership, like student leader ambassador, like that role. And in that program, like there was a lot more like females than males, like, but it was weird because every time someone was chosen to talk or speak or like say their opinion or like share something with the whole class, like it would always be the males.
Yeah.
Like
Like they
every
would kind of
time-
dismiss the
yeah,
females.
they would, yeah. Like they would choose some females here and there, but it was mostly the males representing the whole group because we're separated in committees. So like usually like they choose the male to speak.
Yeah.
And I feel with that is in those situations where there's more females than males, that's their excuse to choose the male, because there's not enough, and we want to hear everyone's voices, and we want to
When as
get
women, there's so many of us and we still don't get heard.
exactly like there could be a room full of women, maybe 2 or 3 males, and the males will be the leaders, and the males will be the ones chosen out of all of those women, because it's not fair. We need to be equal to them, but what happened to being equal to everyone in the room? You know?
I feel like we should encourage others to like, because I feel like people think that it's something normal. Like, this is still going on. Like, we're still getting treated unfairly. Like, nothing has really changed if you really think about it.
Yeah.
So something should really be done about that. And I feel like the more we like put our voice out there and like talk about it, more people can realize. And like even if they thought that before, we hope to like convince others that that's not really the way you should be thinking about this.
And maybe
Because-
help other people speak out.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like if there's any like males like listening to this or not, your mother, for example, like what would she think of you believing that, or like
That stereotype.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
stereotype.
or like
and,
how would you personally feel
if your mother was being restricted
treated like
from that?
this?
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't you
Restricted
want
opportunities.
the best for her? Don't you want her to succeed in everything? Or
Yeah.
even again your children or your sister or something like that. You know, you want them to be themselves and their best selves, and you don't want them to feel condensed.
Even try putting yourself in those positions. Like
Exactly.
how would you feel?
Switch the roles, like
Yeah.
put yourself in our positions and try to understand like why we're so fed up with this and why like we feel the need to keep talking about it. You know? So Aaliyah, what are some personal encounters that you faced with unfair treatment in the workplace?
I think from my mother's experience of stories, what she's told me, her being a director in a nursing center, would be faced with people that would come in and like she'll fill out their paper form, and then the person that was in charge of what she would do would kind of give her all the paperwork to like fill out and hand back and talk to the patients with. but they wouldn't really necessarily put her in the back where like things would actually happen. They would mostly have male
Take care of the heavy work.
exactly. So she would kind of come home like frustrated that she wasn't given the same opportunities as male would have.
Yeah, and she's not getting the chance to like
To get out there and actually do more, not just paperwork.
Yeah.
So honestly, because women continue to face unfair treatment, we will just continue to use our platform to spread awareness. So it's all we can really do at this point, because
I think the more we talk about it, the more
voices
Spread
get
the
out.
word.
yeah.
Convince others that that's not really the correct way of thinking about it. Like, we should want everyone to be seen as equally, given the same opportunities, and not be restricted from anything, or like, because everyone
That
has
they're willing
rights.
to do,
Women
exactly.
have rights, especially.
Women
we-
have just as much capability than a male does.
Yeah.
Yes. Can't speak for every woman, you know. Just the ones who do want to succeed and want to
Be
That
heard
can-
more.
that
Be heard
kind of
and
don't
be
have a voice
seen.
right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They want to be heard.
Because not everyone. Some people are fine with where they're at, and then there's some who aren't. So we want to bring the voices for those who are willing to be more and willing to do more for themselves, you know.
Okay, well, that's a wrap for today. Until next time, where we will discuss the issue in healthcare fields. Stay curious!